specified as like 9.
Okay, ready?
Good afternoon, everybody here, and probably most of the people listening to this video fall within the purview of people who are proud to call themselves anti-fascists and to some extent anti-capitalists. At least to some extent anti-capitalists. If you do that, you are immediately suspect as encouraging violent acts. Theoretically, he says it's against violent acts, but he also says encouraging violent acts and other unlawful activity, which to me means that he's protesting, that he's including encouragement of civil disobedience. In my opinion, civil disobedience is what we all have to engage in, peaceful civil disobedience, to fight fascism. What this is all about is refusing to comply and encouraging others not to comply, and by being declared either a supporter of or an actual terrorist for doing so. And that's what we cannot stand for.
Oh, no.
You know, it's a very ironic document. He issued it a few days after the death of Charlie Kirk, who they're trying to make the Horst Wessel of Trumpism. Horst Wessel, in case you don't know, was a young Nazi who was killed by communists several years before Hitler took power. And he wrote a hymn to the Nazi Party, which under Hitler became the second national anthem and the principal national anthem of Germany, in addition to Deutschland über alles. And he was made a martyr, a bloody flag that they did use to suppress all the enemies of the state. You know, they went after the communists very early, and they went after all the opponents very early. This is what they're doing. And it's very ironic because one of the activities that he says is a precursor and one of the terrible things that the anti-fascists are perpetrating is they organize doxing campaigns, and they reveal people and they harass them and picket them and do that sort of stuff. Charlie Kirk was one of the leaders of that nationally, demonizing especially people, college professors and intellectuals, publishing a list on his sacred site and telling people to go after him, expose him, make trouble, file complaints against him. As a matter of fact, when you read through this presidential memorandum, everything that he complains about is exactly what Trump and his billionaire supporters and his minions did that resulted in his re-election. He talks about big money secretly paddling. You know, I've been going to a lot of demonstrations. No one has ever sent me a check for a hearing. No one has even asked me to consider getting things. Have any of you ever been paid by some secret millionaire?
No. Never.
Does George Soros regularly send you money?
No.
His anti-Semitic, you know, well, we won't get into Trump's anti-Semitism, which is far greater than that of the anti-Palestinian, the pro-Palestinian demonstrators. We won't get into that. But that's what he says is going on, and he's telling them to do that. This is nothing more than an extension of what is going on with our immigrant population. And the main things that we can do to fight it, in addition to getting the attention of our public officials, and the demand made by this group is entirely reasonable, which is to extend the same protections that the Attorney General has extended to the immigrant population, to all efforts about this attack against anti-fascists. It's the same thing. And but the best way to fight it is to not comply personally. That means to regularly identify ourselves as anti-fascists wherever we go, wherever we're talking to people, and to engage in civil disobedience and even civilly obedient protests like the one that we're participating in this afternoon. There has to be massive non-compliance and massive non-violent resistance, and it has to be public. We shouldn't be afraid to be identified as this. We have to have that spread so that everybody identifies, and it's clear that you can't get rid of all the people who oppose anti-fascism and are opposed to the excesses of capitalism, if not all of capitalism. It's obscene for people to have as much money as they have. Elon Musk, a trillionaire? I mean, I don't know what the definition of obscenity is if it's not that. We have to openly oppose these things. It is secret police. It is COINTELPRO, which you may be familiar with, except now it's on steroids because of the artificial intelligence and much more sophisticated surveillance equipment, because frankly, everywhere you go these days, you're surveilled. Your cell phone in your pocket enables them to find out exactly where you've been, how long you stayed there, where you went next. We're constantly surveilled, and it amazes me how many people try to get more with these smart speakers. If they can hear you when you talk to them, they hear every other word that you're saying. And every word you're saying is going up into the cloud. They've gotten us into a place where we're already surveilled. Now they're going to link this up with their intelligence. It has to be resisted. The people have to say it's not acceptable. It's exactly what secret police do. Slowly but surely, they go from one group to another, and they get more and more. And the only people who commit crimes doing this are the ones who are opposing Trump's distorted definition of what American values are.
Right.
He says it's the people who oppose great American values. What does he cite? He doesn't cite liberty, democracy, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. He cites strong borders and supporting law enforcement. Those are the core American values that he cites in this, that he says we can't have people opposing our core American values. It's a terribly ironic document. It would be satirical if he wasn't actually the President of the United States and signing these things. So it's very important to join this campaign. And also to join the campaign, to have the legislature pass the Immigrant Trust Act.
Yeah.
Pass the Immigrant Trust Act. And there's also a Voting Rights Act. There are a lot of acts in front of the lame duck legislature that they've been putting off till after the legislature. The Immigrant Trust Act is right up this alley, as is the effort to stop them from passing the law to adopt the ear-hot definition of anti-Semitism as part of our statutes. That's exactly the same campaign, and that has to be opposed. They're going after us for ideas. The best defense, the best way to fight it is to be as open as possible with our ideas, and to be militant, and to be non-violent. He's going to label us violence. That's playing into his hands. And of course, as ISIS showed, they incite violence wherever they go. We've seen it at Delaney Hall. We've seen our own congresswoman for the district that we're standing in right now being prosecuted for engaging in entirely lawful activities, protesting what's going on at Delaney Hall. We have our own concentration camp right here in the city of Newark, in Delaney Hall. We all have to work against it. We all have to work against it. So please talk to your legislatures. Let's get these bills passed, or not passed in the case of the ear-hot definition. And I thank you for your time. It's not going to be, I'm a lawyer. This is not going to be won in the courts. We've seen how the Supreme Court's been acting. this can only be won by the people. The people have to make it clear that we're not going to stand for it. We're not going to stand for it. And that means don't be afraid to come out. We got to get more people to come out. We got to do all we can to further these goals. Thank you very much. Thank you.